And I'm going to tell you that you're putting a limiting belief on me, and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it right in your face. And I'm gonna succeed because I'm built up like that.
You was talking like that's how I feel. So it's like with basketball, right? It's so funny how these young kids and young adults, they be like, oh, if I play real defense on you, I can shut you down. I'd be like, you know how stupid you sound? You think I just started playing basketball yesterday? You ain't even that good. Okay, let me look at the camera while I say this. Okay. Welcome to Underdawg Talk. I'm your host, Eric Jones Jr., the underdog with the heroic heart, and I have conversations with successful underdogs. And today is no different than any other day. I have Miss Robin Coleman. She is a RN MPH, esteemed leader in the community, empowering and mental health, with nearly 15 years as a registered nurse specialized in trauma. Robin founded the... How do you say the Sikkim Institute for Holistic Healing, Inc. and Innovation Diversity LLC, and her efforts focus on transforming lives through education on stress and trauma. How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing pretty good today. I took a nice nap.
Little church nap?
Yeah.
A little church, yep. I didn't get a chance to take no nap today. Yep, a little tired. But before we get to talking, because she acting, I don't know why, y'all, she acting like she nervous, like she don't talk a lot. But I need a fun fact.
Fun fact.
Yep.
I'm a published poet. I don't know if that's fun or not, but a lot of people don't know that I have published poetry, just one poem.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Because I got a little poetry in me.
Well, let me tell you. So when I was first going to college, I was looking for scholarships. Mm-hmm. And I found something that said, write a poem to get a scholarship. I didn't win the scholarship, but they did publish it. It's in the International Library of Poetry. It's called A Woman Scorned.
That's dope. Like, because, back in my my young days when I was around my son's age, I was writing poems to girls.
Too cute.
Yeah. But then even so... I think I've said it on the podcast before, but we had to do, in 8th grade, we had to do a poem. And my poem was called Breath, but it was based off of the Thong song. So it's like, your breath so scandalous, a pack of 10 mints can't handle it. It was something, that's the only part that I can remember, but it was something like that. I got a B on it. I thought it was amazing. Like, I thought I should have got an A.
You thought you should have got an A?
Definitely should have thought should have got an A. Mm-hmm. So I know Miss Robin from our class, the Hustlers Mastermind. Mm-hmm. She actually, to be honest, I got to give a shout out to you. She encouraged me to write the first book that I wrote this year with the quotes, the Underdawg quotes. So thank you for that, because sometimes we have it in us and it just takes somebody else to push. And we just had met each other. It wasn't like we known each other. We all met each other at the beginning of the year, but sometimes it takes time to talk to people. So since then, I wrote another book, and then I'm working on other ones right now. I'm working on illustrations, so I should have more done shortly. But I do got a journal coming out.
That's so dope. So shout out to you.
Yeah, thank you.
You're doing way better than I am, because I started writing my book and then I kind of like put it down because I couldn't. Well, the direction I wanted to take the book in the first place was more focused on health equity and stress and stuff. But then I realized I was talking about my life, and I was like, maybe it ain't time to talk about that. I need to recenter. So
no, I'm not doing. But you know how long I've been working on writing a book about me? For a long time. I got a couple chapters here, a couple chapters there, a book here with it. So that's the book that I really want to sit down. That's when I want to get, when I got a little money and know some people where somebody could help me, they could forward it and help me with the book. Because I think I want to be able to tell that correctly. Mm-hmm. I don't want to like rush it and try to throw it. I want somebody to guide me so I can, because I'm going to talk it. I ain't going to write it out. And they can put it together the way it's supposed to be. So, yeah. And the crazy thing is I don't like reading myself. And I didn't like English in school. Yeah.
Me either.
Yeah. So it's like, and then helping my son with his book, helping other kids with their books. It's like, wow, who would have ever thought? Yeah, like my son about to come out with a coloring book for his book, and then a journal like for you little boys, because you know little boys, they like, because I was thinking it's some, I gotta give his mom credit, she thought of the ideas but I executed on them, so it was a teamwork. But like with little boys, and just thinking about how I was as a kid, like we don't really write, we don't really express our feelings, because you don't want to be crying and stuff like that. You know, that's how it's looked upon. But it's like being a grown man, it's like write your thoughts out, write your feelings out, so you can get them out. Or that's how you could talk to somebody. Like, hey, I don't know how to say it to you, but this is what I wrote down. Something of that sort. So that's pretty cool. It's crazy, like, thinking of the stuff that you do as an adult, and then how it would have helped you as a kid.
Yeah. You know, I actually had my son write his own book too. We didn't publish it, but when I started writing, I had him write a book called Affirmations to Teenage Black Boys. And
that's dope.
And actually, I was trying to get him to learn how to affirm himself.
Yeah.
So we just went through every morning just trying to figure out what would be nice affirmations for young black boys, stuff that he knows he need to hear. He hear it from me, but you know, kids don't want to listen to their parents. So you know, I was like, maybe it'd be better if they got a book from a young man's perspective.
Yep. Because I used to call my son every morning, and we would do some, and then I think as a parent, you kind of like, okay, you threw the seed in there, let him kind of, you know, do it on his own, because, you know, they be like, okay, Dad, all right, you know how kids are. So let's get into you and, and what you do, and, you know, I got some questions. I love when people be like, so what questions you going to ask? I don't know. I don't know where we going to go with the comment. I might ask the first question and put the paper down and not pull it back up. So
well, let's go.
I never know. So can you share what inspired you to found, I can't say the word.
Sikkim Institute?
Yeah.
Okay.
And your Innovation Diverse LLC. And like, what made you become, it's like a two-part, but the second part is just what made you become passionate about mental health?
Oh, okay. So, and I'll try to keep it to just those two, because, you know, I actually have 4 businesses.
Yeah.
But it's called the Sikkim Institute for Holistic Healing. And essentially, I'm a nurse, been a nurse for almost 15 years, doing public health, community health, primarily serving 99% African Americans in Marion County, primarily Far East Side. So I got a lot of experience working within the issues within our community. I also am a person who grew up in Hallville, USA, so my lived experience mirrors that of those that I have served as a registered nurse. And I really kind of got into studying stress and trauma with it as a healthcare provider, because I really wanted to understand myself, how I got to where I was. My life has been rough, to say the least. Been a survivor of child sexual trauma. I've been molested as a kid, raped as an adult, raped as a teenager. Not fully understanding like how that impacted me as a teenager, and who I showed up, or how I'm showing up as an adult woman. Also experienced domestic violence, intimate partner violence, just a lot of, you know, typical things that happen. I hate to say this in the Black community. And how our families typically handle things of that nature with, you know, you don't tell people what's going on in your household, and how that then makes us carry the burden, and not really trying to intentionally to teach us to be ashamed of the experiences that we had. But that's inadvertently what happens when you are told you're not supposed to share what's going on outside the household. And really, most parents are telling adults to do that to protect us from the system, because we know that historically the system doesn't care to divide our families up, and we know that sometimes dividing our families up is not really the best thing to actually promote healing or, you know, restoring families. So anyways, I got into taking all my certifications in stress and trauma because I wanted to understand myself, and then as a healthcare provider, really being able to impact and empower my clients with helping them understand themselves and helping them to really be able to look outside of their own lived experiences, even within the family dynamic. A lot of parents do what they have been told to do or what they think they should do. It's not really in the best interest of, the other family members, but, that it causes you to carry a big burden. And so I wanted to empower my clients on how to improve their lives and how to navigate these bad conversations that they have to have with their family members. So that's how I got into stress and trauma. I actually started Sikkim Institute because I actually, in November of 22, ended up having some sort of mental health breakdown because of the toxic work environment that I was in, dealing with a lot of stress. It took a toll on my mental health. I had to take off work November of 22 to allow my brain to heal. I got to the point where I was forgetting stuff. I was having trouble processing. I'd be driving and forget where I'm going. I mean, because that's what stress does to us. We don't recognize to the extent of how it impacts our minds and our bodies. But I took off work in November of 22 and decided in April 2023 that it was best for me really to not go back to working, particularly in that environment that I had just left and was trying to heal from. So I started my private practice, Nurse Robin Speaks, and tried to partner with a lot of community organizations, and I just wasn't having the best of luck. For multiple reasons, and we could dabble into that if you want to. But once I found difficulty trying to do the work with the community, with already established community organizations, and I wasn't getting anywhere, I was like, why am I begging to partner with people when I have the knowledge, the skill set, the expertise to be able to empower my community on my own, not just because I'm a registered nurse, but because my lived experiences mirrors that I serve, because I have experience serving the most vulnerable populations in Marion County, and because my master's in public health is in program planning, implementation, and evaluation. So I know what you're supposed to do to actually plan a program, start a nonprofit, and really get something that stakeholders are going to be proud of to pour into. So once I was having difficulty trying to work with other community organizations, I just said, I'm going to start my own. And because my lens as a diversity, equity, and inclusion expert, it allows me to approach healthcare in a very different way. And I feel like right now, a lot of community organizations, they are focused on maintaining reputation and not really delving into like innovation as a way to attack the healthcare issues that we have within our community. And I know that innovation is what we're going to need because whatever they're doing ain't really working, right? Disparities, statistics are not really changing. So because I wanted the freedom to be able to implement with innovation, even though it's evidence-based, it's innovative because not a lot of community organizations are doing it. So that's what made me start the Sikkim Institute, and it ties back into the other business, Innovative Diversity, which is a consulting company, because I was doing diversity, equity, and inclusion, trying to improve healthcare disparities with the people who are making decisions about us at a higher level, working with executives and different healthcare organizations, sitting at the table with them, trying to work with changing their mindset with how they approach us, and then I figure I can empower the community in different ways. So it's working the problem from two different angles. So within Innovative Diversity, I do diversity, equity, and inclusion consulting and training, staff development, developing programs centered around that. But then I also do program planning and then project management, program evaluations. And now I do, my favorite part is leadership development coaching, because I think that there are a lot of people who are just like me who experience a lot of toxicity within the workplace, and they want to leave and they feel like they can't, they feel like they're stuck, and you're not stuck. You just feel like you are. You put these limiting beliefs on yourself on what you can achieve, and because we have been conditioned to think that we go from being high schoolers, that we have to go to college, that we have to, get a company, that we have to work on building our 401k through all the traditional way. And we really don't. We just need to be thinking outside the box. So within my leadership development, I help people who either don't have their own business, but they have a vision or idea about what they want to do, help them cultivate that and know what steps and skills they should take to bring that vision into fruition, and then help them actually develop their program. And then for other entrepreneurs who are already having their own businesses, I can help do some strategic planning alongside them and help them make sure that they're setting themselves up for success. And sorry, that was a long answer, but there it is.
Yeah. I mean, you broke down everything. I like what you said, like while you were being vulnerable about your different traumas and then what you actually do. A lot of times people work in fields and they have no experience, and the experience is life. And you're doing stuff for people that's going through what you went through because you were able to realize, okay, hey, something ain't right. Let me go and figure this out. Because a lot of times in the Black community, we don't go and talk to somebody. We don't express how we're feeling. We don't journal. We don't go talk to people that can help us. We just keep it all in, and then we don't realize that some of the traits our parents did or stuff that happened to us, we do it, and things of that sort. So that's kind of triggering to think about for us as a Black community about the things that go on, and then people are now talking about it, and it's more exposed because of the times that we're in. But then also the different things that you do with it, because towards the end you were like, there's people you don't have to go to school. They put school in there to make you have some debt, but you have the education to back up the experience. A lot of times we do stuff and we don't have the right language. You're able to have the right language now because you went to school and you're around there. And sometimes, like for me, I'm learning the language of how to talk to people in schools, because you could be the best speaker in the world, but if you don't speak their language, they're gonna be like, oh, okay, that's cute, that's cool. You want to come in for free, and you're like, no, I'm trying to come in and get some money. But if you don't speak the right language, if you're not putting the right words in there, if you're not, so that's very important to be able to have that part, to not just have. Sometimes people have education just to say I went to school and try to shit on people, but then you also have people that actually went to school and they might not do nothing with their degree, but it was the language, and now they network and they know how to operate. So those are things that people need to pay attention to when you're actually listening to somebody. Like when I watch and listen to people, I listen to what they're saying, but I'm trying to take away from what they're saying, because you want to be like, okay, maybe I'm going through this. Because a lot of times when I'm sure people listen to the podcast, they might not go to therapy.
Right.
They might not know how to get through their trauma because their mama didn't know how to get through it, and they didn't show them, and nobody shows you. Me and somebody were talking, and we were talking about generational curses. And I was like, it's not really generational curses per se, but it's generational decisions. And I think that's the same thing with trauma. It's like, okay, if y'all gonna keep letting the same thing happen in the family, who gonna step up and change it?
Yeah.
Who gonna be that person to say, all right, I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of you, mama, you or dad, you an alcoholic, uncle alcoholic, brother, uncle alcoholic. I'm a recovering alcoholic. Now, like, who gonna be the one?
Yeah, it's so hard. So something happens in our DNA when we experience stress and trauma. It actually imprints on our DNA, and you can pass this down. So we are carrying the trauma from our ancestors through what's called epigenetics. And so we don't know that this trauma is so embedded in our DNA that when we experience stuff, our bodies are reacting as if, we had experienced that or whatnot. And so our bodies are aging. What's called the weathering theory. Our bodies are aging rapidly because of the trauma that we experience now, but also as we're constantly, especially as African Americans, are exposed to racism on the level that we are, right? Just from being Black in America, right? And remembering back stories that our parents, grandparents, and all the ancestors and stuff have shared, about their experience. Like there's something that's happening all the time where our body is having to react to stress. And so it's really hard when you are in the midst of trauma and stress to be able to do what you are saying. It's possible, and that is definitely where our mindset should be, is like recognizing that I won't call it a curse, an intergenerational curse, but to be able to recognize that this is something that we experience within our family, and to try to work against it, right? And when you make the decision to say enough is enough, the buck stop here, because that is how I chose to react within my family. But I also acknowledge that all of our brains don't respond the same to the stress, the trauma, and our ability to cope, right? So coping with alcohol and drugs and through sex and, or lashing out with hostility, those are ineffective coping mechanisms. And sometimes we don't know how to not do that, right? Especially if it hasn't been modeled before us, right? And people ask me all the time, especially when I first got into this space, and I've been sharing my story about, my lived experiences from the beginning. And I'll never forget the regional director asked me, what do I think about resilience? Like, do you think people are born with resilience, or is it something that's cultivated? And it was a hard question for me to answer then, because my only lens of how I felt like I became resilient enough to endure all of those things and then to still arise above it where it doesn't consume me, was because at that time I felt like I was spiritually grounded, right? It was my relationship with God. It was God giving me vision about who I was supposed to be, and thank God that I'm an intuitive person and I have the spiritual gift of insight for myself. I had a supernatural experience because that is what grounded me, but everybody don't get that experience, right? And now there's all this talk about like resilience can be cultivated, but I honestly don't know. I think the research about people's ability to be able to endure, both of us can be in the same household, both of us endure the same exact thing. I happen to be a person that can rise above it. You happen to be a person where it's just like, I can't cope, and so I'm using drugs and alcohol. We experience the same thing. We have the same upbringing, right? So it has to be something internal there that's either within me or within you that makes us go the direction that we want to go. And I do believe that the research that's surrounding this resilience is going to continue to evolve, because as of right now, they say you just need somebody to nurture you and to do the things that you didn't get within that family dynamic or personal interactions with somebody who was offering safety and nurturing to you to overcome those adverse childhood experiences or whatnot. But I think it's going to change, because for me, I do feel like I grew up in a family of alcoholics. Me and my older brother, we don't drink because we saw alcoholism. Yeah. My other siblings do drink. It's just what they do, right? Yeah. And so it's just really hard.
Yeah, I used to drink. I drink every now and then, but I don't drink. I could go somewhere and be like, no, I'm cool. Because I've had like the Hangover, the movie experience, like a couple times, but but then also understanding people in my family drunk. So I was like, nah, I'm cool. But to what you're saying with adversity, I think everyone can get through adversity because we already have. We just don't realize it. If we look back on our life, even from as a baby, or I would say when you start learning how to crawl and walk, you got through some adversity already in your life. You didn't even know it was adversity, but you went and did it. But as soon as somebody throw the word adversity, throw a word that's challenging or a word that has a title on there, then you get scared. But you've already overcame stuff. Like for me, I've overcame having 16 surgeries. I've overcame being born with short arms. So stuff that go on in life is like, okay, that's cool. I'm not really worried. I can figure it out because I've came through so much. And I had to. I couldn't just breeze through life and just manage to get through life being born the way I was. I had to go through the adversity. As a kid, I didn't know what adversity meant. I was just going through life. So I've already overcame stuff. And if we can get to that mindset, or somebody to put that in our mindset, or that perspective of you've already overcame something, just sit down, clear your head, figure out what the problem is, and figure out how you can overcome it. Now, you might not be able to overcome it on your own. You might have to call somebody. You might need some help. But we've all overcame some type of adversity already in our life. Even if I don't know how old you are. I'm not going to ask you how old you are because it's not right to ask women. But you could stop right now, right? Mm-hmm. And some adversity that you've never faced before come next week. Mm-hmm. But you could look back on however old you are all those years. You'd be like, okay, I already came through something. I can get through this. But there's going to be people, like you said, that are in the environments of nobody ever thought like that. There's not one person that's like, oh, I already came over. Everybody's like, soon as trouble comes, soon as problems come, that's all they talk about. Nobody ever talks about how we going to solve this. Your friend, you got those friends. Yeah, girl, this. Nobody said nothing to how you gonna solve it. There ain't been a problem solved, discussed. It ain't nothing but complaints. And it's like, okay, somebody got to think different. Somebody got to think like, all right, stop calling me with your bullshit. How can I help you?
But I don't discredit what you're saying, because I think you and I are kind of built up the same. And this is why I was saying that, it's, for me, I believe it's more of that it can be an internal motivation. However, when you endure stress and trauma, your brain releases these hormones and neurotransmitters that literally changes the way that your brain is developed. So the younger you are, your brain is going to develop in layers, and it's going to develop in layers, and they're going to look different based off of your trauma, right? And then as no matter what age you are, you're getting coated, your brain is getting coated with hormones that change how it functions. And so even though I hear what you're saying, I think we have to make space for the fact that because people's brains don't function the same, they're not going to be able to easily do what you're saying. I do believe that internal motivation, I think you and I both are very internally motivated, and that helps us, right? How we got there, I have no idea. I have no idea why I'm so driven and can appear, and I'm going to use the term appear because we're going to talk about this strong black woman, strong black man, that fallacy of what's going on with us, right? Because it doesn't allow us to really operate in our humanity. But I will say that I appear strong. I do make the verbalization that I'm going to get through it, and I do put my action towards that, right? I do guard my spirit, right? I didn't always be like this. Yeah. Now, I happen to have my godmother, Candy, who I met when I was 18 years old, came in and taught me about guarding my spirit and taught me how to cultivate. So I didn't get that when I was under the age of 18, right? But I did have somebody that came and put those seeds in me at an early age or as a young adult. And so I've been able to cultivate that. I'm 43. Mm-hmm. I ain't ashamed of who I am, even this gray hair, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because there's plenty of 43-year-olds or people who didn't make it to my age.
Yeah.
And side note, when I was 14, 11 people got killed in Harville. When I tell you it was going down, it was going down. Yeah. And so I always take time to reflect on how grateful I am to be alive, because I shouldn't be here. I've been in shootouts. I've been seeing people shot in front of me. Like it could have easily been me. Yeah. Because of what I've seen and what I've been exposed to. It could have easily been me, and it ain't really nothing but the grace of God and me knowing that that my purpose, my lived experiences are my purpose, and that's what I get to use to get all these executives together with understanding who we are, to change how they're interacting with us and how I can empower the people because they see themselves relatable to me, And so anyways, I do think we just need to leave room for the fact that some people, because of how their brain functions and their hormones and how deep that adversity is and how they haven't been given the right tools to be able to have more effective coping. We just got to leave space for that.
Yeah, but I think to what you're saying, because you're giving the proper terminology, the educational answer, the research behind what we're talking about, that kind of answer in a certain sense, because I feel like what you're saying is correct, but it's like, why y'all don't want to change our perspective, or why don't y'all want to listen to somebody else's perspective? Like, as black people, we get so caught up in, like you said earlier, the struggles of our ancestors. We don't get that when we say, oh, it's light skin versus dark skin, it's a reason behind that.
All that foolishness.
Yeah, or it's like when we're in a trap, we don't realize it's really a trap. That's why they call it a trap. Like, or you're, I think I might have said it on the last episode. I was talking to somebody. It's like, if you didn't struggle, you not like a certain type of black. It's like, no, nigga, it ain't my fault your mama didn't do what she was supposed to. It ain't my fault your family ain't understand that you can go on the other side of the tracks and pay the same amount of money and live in a house and not an apartment. That ain't my fault.
Ooh,
Like, but you don't realize that till you get older and you understand, like, bro, what? Oh, if you didn't eat oodles and noodles, if you wasn't, that ain't the life you was supposed to live, bro.
Yeah. Oh man. When I was in, so I grew up in Harvey, and we were bused to Ben Davis, and there's black kids that grew up out in Ben Davis middle class, but I didn't have exposure to them until we got bused. Because I grew up, before we moved to Harvey, I lived in Riverside 2G, and we walked to school 44. So our neighborhood just looked like that, and so really wasn't exposed to middle class black people until we got bused to Ben Davis. And I remember, talking about some of those black kids, like, why y'all talking white, and X, Y, and Z. And I remember they was just looking at us like we just so stupid. They look at us like we stupid and ghetto, and we looking at y'all like y'all trying to be white,
Yeah, and so, to what you said, that's kind of like, oh, y'all house niggas, but then they looking at us like, y'all some field niggas.
Yeah,
why y'all doing all that?
It's so stupid. But now that my son has been in private school his whole life, and by the grace of God, I'm able to raise him as a middle class parent. Used to be. I ain't got the money no more. But anyways, and people talk about him all the time like he tries to be white, and I had to really sit down and have some come to Jesus moment with my family. Like, I'm not gonna talk about my son because he talks with education, and I remember having an opportunity to go back to see somebody I went to high school with and apologize to them for saying that, because I do feel like that both groups have to be careful about how they judge, right?
Yeah.
Because those who grow up middle class they have to be grateful to God that they're
they
not growing up in poverty,
Yeah.
but everybody is a product of their environment. Everybody is.
But look, at the end of the
Everybody
day, we
is.
get pulled over. It don't matter if you going to Beverly Hills or you
That's
going
right.
to the projects. You
That's
get pulled
right.
over and you black. But I remember saying that to my sister. Oh, you talk white, because she was smart. She went to school and actually did what she was supposed to do. I didn't. But then I think about it's like, dang. And then I be listening to myself when I'm talking, or if I've said something and another person's talking, I'm like, dang, I just said some good ass shit. And like, dang. And I'm like, I don't read, but this is how I learn from listening to people, and then understanding, like, I remember, like, when somebody say a big word, they usually say what the definition of it is afterwards. So I'll use a big word and I'll be like, oh, I said that right. But it's because I listened to what the word meant and been able to do that. But then because you do have the people, oh, I'm going to college. Because I'm a late 80s, 90s baby. So it's like, oh, you got to go to school. You got to go to school. Why? You didn't go to school. And it's crazy that you think, like, I think about that. All our parents were telling us to go to school, and y'all ain't go to school. Why? Y'all don't know what the hell going on at this school. Because school ain't as cute and safe. I went to Vincennes. So I'm from Michigan City. So Michigan City is a little bit of everybody, but it's white. It's more white. So going to Vincennes, it's all white, but it's country white. It's racist white, like everything. And it's like, oh, I don't like this. I don't want to stay here. Then you go to Bloomington, you got more black people, but it's still white there. And you, oh no, okay. So my daughter, she go to school in Bloomington. She was like, it's a different experience than, because me and my friends talk about, like, what if we went to HBCU?
Oh, I wanted to go so bad. I dropped the bag on that one.
We didn't know nothing about it.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't a talk. I'm from little Michigan City. I ain't talking about that. You ain't going there. Like, but then you just think about, dang, we missed those opportunities. Because if you think about black kids that come from the hood and go to HBCU, that's going to help them. Because you're going to see somebody that look like you and be like, yeah, hey, I used to do this, and that, but I understood that now I can do this. And it's about changing your perspective. I think a lot of times people don't want to change their perspective, especially the older generation, like our parents. They just stuck in their ways. But it's like, listen, you ain't got to keep going to freaking work. There's ways that you can do stuff now that you ain't got to go to work. Just figure out technology. Figure out how to do a camera. Figure out your phone.
Yeah.
And you could do your phone, and you could not have to go back to doing for it. You shouldn't be. I hate that my dad go to work. Bro, you 60, bro. You shouldn't be going to work, bro.
Yeah, and the way that our country is set up to think that we're going to retire at 72, and they don't want to pay us. And this is why I push entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And really want to support leaders or people who are aspiring leaders to understand that this. So let me just acknowledge that I do have 2 degrees, right? Mm-hmm. And I know that my 2 degrees have definitely got me to the table and have gotten me the income that, I wanted to earn. Well, not everything I want to earn, but it gave me a good start. But what I will say with my son, I recognize 2 things. I don't think that we should have to pay for college. College is too expensive.
Like, overseas they don't.
Well, I know, yeah. Right? So $50,000-$60,000 a year to go to one institution. Like, come on, man. The education you getting is not worth $60,000.
No, it's not.
It's just really not. And and I'm real transparent. I'm $179,000 in debt from just my college. I went to 4 universities, graduated 3 times. I got a medical assistant before I ended up becoming a nurse and then getting my master's degree. And so I know what this debt is what it looks like and how it takes a toll on, when you come out, you think I got this degree. I came out, my first student loan payment was $1,000 a month. I mean, and I only got offered a job making $21 an hour with my college degree. I went to Marion. That's where I got my nursing degree from. And it was $20,000 a year, and so, I just feel like I told my son, you don't have to go, but you better have a vision and you better have a plan. And I also am at the same time positioning him so that if he doesn't want to go to college, that we are pushing entrepreneurship. I'm giving him avenues to where I started my own clothing line. Guess who can take over the clothing line? Right? If you don't want to do that, I'm setting him up so that by the time he graduates from high school, he'll have certificates in digital marketing and stuff like that. So if he wanted to start his own company doing logos or stuff like that to support people with technology, he's already positioned to do that, which is, I'm like thinking ahead, because even though he's smart, he don't have the same drive that I had. My drive to go to college was because I couldn't read. I didn't realize that I had an issue with reading until I became an adult. But I was in special reading class when I was in the 5th grade. I don't love reading. Give me a documentary, we can go. We can talk all day long.
Me too.
But reading, when I start reading, I have to visualize everything in order to fully conceptualize it, and then it takes me a long time. And so my trauma with reading comes from the fact that my brother and my sister, they can read novels this thick in an hour, whereas I'm doing 15 pages and I'm struggling through it, so I don't want to read, right? Mm-hmm. So when I chose to go to college, when I said I was going, people laughed at me. They was like, you think you're going to college? And laughed at me, and so once I finally decided that I was going to go, I had something to prove to myself and I had something to prove to the world, right?
Hey, y'all people that doubted her, fuck y'all, because look at where she at now.
And guess what I do? Every time somebody tell me what I can't do, I go and get it done, and I'm do it right in your face. And guess what? I ain't got to be nasty with you.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that, though.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. But, but that's my drive, because people put limiting beliefs on you because of their own capacity or because of their own trauma or because they don't want to see you succeed faster or higher than what they're doing. And so I don't let people put limiting beliefs on me. And I'm going to tell you that you're putting a limiting belief on me, and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it right in your face. And I'm gonna succeed because I'm built up like that.
You was talking like that's how I feel. So it's like with basketball, right? It's so funny how these young kids and young adults, they be like, oh, if I play real defense on you, I can shut you down. I'd be like, you know how stupid you sound? You think I just started playing basketball yesterday? You ain't even that good. You ain't even in the top 10 people I've ever played against. So you think you gonna stop me? You're not gonna stop me. Why you gonna stop me? Because you think you gonna stop me? You're not gonna stop me. Right. And even if you was, even if I thought in my head, even if I know, because I'm a realistic, I was like, dang, he really could beat me. I would never in my life say, I ain't never gonna even talk like I'm scared to play somebody.
Right.
I'm coming in there like, bruh, I'm on your ass. Like, what is you talking about? But to what you were saying, like with reading, right? So my son, he's in 5th grade. They figured it out in 4th grade. He's a little dyslexic. I was that, and everything they were saying, I was like, that's me. Nobody told me that. Nobody said I was that. Because, like, when I read, I read faster than what's putting down. So I be saying stuff or a word will come in my head. It's like, oh, wait, that ain't it. Oh. And, like, I don't like to read, but put a TV, audio, not an audio book. I don't like them either because I don't like people's voices. Put a podcast, something like that, or sit me down with somebody. That's how I'm going to learn. Yeah. Like, I learn everybody has a different way, but with school, I'm the same way with my kids. So my daughter, she's 19 and she's a sophomore. So I told her, I think senior year, maybe no, sometime in high school, figure out something that you like to do. That's right. So when you go to school, you can do it. So guess what? She do hair. She's in the shop. She making money off that. But like you were saying with the marketing, I think she did social media marketing. She did something else because she kind of had a little. First year was a little rough. She was like, all right, let me get my stuff together, figure it out. Let me take some stuff off my calendar, off my schedule, so I don't have so much on me and I can get back in my grades right. So that's what she doing. I told her, I was like, hey, when you go to school, you got to come out a boss. You got to come out to be able to run your own stuff, not to just go, because people will go, I know somebody, I forgot what the food kind of degree. It didn't have nothing to do with nothing. And you talking about I got a degree, but you live in your mama's basement in your 30s. What are you talking about, homie?
There's a lot of people
what is
who
you
get
talking
their
about?
Degrees and then they don't use them. Because
you can't use them though.
Yeah, in some instances you can't, and this is one of the things that I do with my leadership development. Like I tell you, you want to know what you're passionate about, but you also want to know what type of profit that's going to turn, right? Because if I'm passionate about social work, right, but I have a desire to live in the Hamptons per se, is a social work job going to get me a house in the Hamptons? No, it's not, right? So you have to be able to understand what your passion is, but you also have to know how much profit you're going to earn, and if that's not the right way for you to go, you don't want to be driven by money, but you don't want to have a life where you feel like you're doing passionate work, but you're not making enough money, because then that's going to inadvertently make you feel like you need to change lanes 15 years later. Like, we don't want to do that. So let's start on the front end. Is there something that you can do that marries the amount of money you want to earn plus you're passionate about? If it's something that already exists, maybe you should go that way instead of just thinking with the unidimensional perspective, right, from what they tell us and how we got to navigate the system, right? No. And then if there's not, can you create one, right? Innovation is everything. Innovation is everything. And if you can sell why your innovation is going to solve a problem, then you're going somewhere. That's all you got to do.
But what you just said, a lot of people don't get. Because they get caught up in going to a job, get comfortable working at 9 to 5, but they want to live a different life.
Yep.
And they purpose is a different life, but they don't want to. I always tell people, what you like to do? Like, you got to figure it out. Like, so when I first started speaking, right, they like, oh, you could be a motivational speaker. No, I'm not about to be one of them little cornball dudes that come into school. That's what I saw. Then I learned about it. Then I found out about ET. Then I found out the people that work with ET. And
they getting that bag.
You get that bag. You can literally go in as a speaker and make what somebody makes in a year in an hour.
You sure can.
And it's like, oh, I learned that, but then you have to actually learn the language. You got to learn how to present yourself. You can't be like, oh, I'm a motivational speaker. They can be like, oh, that's cute. No, you have to. I'm a social and emotional learning expert. Oh, okay, that sounds a little sexier.
Right.
They gonna be like, oh, what you do? Yeah. Oh, what you? Yeah, let's talk. That's gonna get you in the door. People don't realize certain stuff. Like you said, it's stuff that people are good at, or that's their purpose. And it can get you the money. It's not going to come right away. That's the people problem. Oh, I can go to a job. Yeah, you can. But work on whatever your purpose is, because you're going to love that more than going to that job you hate about, you coming home, and that's all you talk about. Because I work in the school system, and I hate the people that got degrees that think they just all uppity. Because you don't love the kids. Like, somebody that lives in a whole nother state, we having a conversation, she was intrigued off me just off the stuff that I put on Facebook. We ended up having a conversation and just talking, and she was like, I can just tell you're one of them ones that love the kids. I don't have nobody degree. I wasn't trying to go to school for no school. I didn't even like school, none of that. But it's a difference when you actually like were that kid that people said that couldn't do something, or you're from areas where you get these kids, and it's like, bro, I tell kids real. I don't sugarcoat. I have to dumb it down to their language, but I keep it real with them because I'm like, y'all got it. Like, y'all to school with white people. I don't care how friendly you think these people are. You do one thing wrong, guess what's gonna happen? It's gonna be on you. Now, sometimes I do get out of pocket with the way that I talk. I be forgetting because the kids get out of pocket, and I said something to a kid. It wasn't nothing malicious or anything, but he went and told his parents. They were supposed to have a meeting. We never did, and I was sitting there and I was like, I didn't think I was necessarily wrong for what I said, but my friend was like, if I was a parent, I would come up there and would have wanted to talk to you too, and I was like, okay, I get where they coming from because they're still kids, even though your kid don't act like the kid that you think they are.
Yeah, that's so tough, and that's one of the reasons why I do. Now, this is no shade against you because I do feel like the power of having the lived experiences and the connection to the kids, it carries a different type of weight, right? But I do believe that people who are working with kids should have some type of formal training on child development, because the problem is we don't understand what's normal for a kid to say and do, right? The only lens that we have is a lens from which we operated with or our family, right? That's the dynamics. This is how we know what's normal, right? Yeah. When I was your age, we did X, Y, and Z, or my cousin did X, Y, and Z, right? But we don't know like what's normal for their level of growth and development. And then it's complicated when you add in stress and trauma and how that has changed or influenced this child and their behavior and everything like that. So I'm always advocating for anybody working with children that they have to have some type of training either on growth and development or mental health.
Not to cut you off, because the schools don't have the proper training.
No.
Because when you work in schools, I worked in the only training that I feel like that was consistent and you're learning new stuff was when I worked in life skills, which is special education, because you have to. You have to learn about kids. Like me, I learned about autism in a way different way, deeper than, and I was like, oh, okay, now it making sense. But it's like they don't have the proper training of, even with their employees. Like some schools you go to, they don't have team building. They don't. You don't even feel like it's a family. You feel like, oh, okay, that's the little crew over there. That's they crew. That's they crew. Why we not all here for the kids? Why I can't come over here and ask you a question? You a seasoned teacher. I'm new. Can I come ask you a question? But because maybe I talk loud, or I'm shaking up with the kids, or we kiki-ing, you thinking a certain way. But guess what? These kids tell me they don't like y'all. Because look, last year I did work with second grade, so these second graders was going through it. Like a lot of, we don't realize what kids go through. So they come and I'm like, all right, you cool? You take your little breather. Now let's talk. How was your weekend? What you do yesterday? Figuring out what kind of life they live, because that's how you gonna have to communicate to them.
Yeah, connect with them.
Because you could come in there and you yelling at them. They like, okay, that's cool. What whoop-de-doo.
Right, you ain't the first, you ain't gonna be last.
Yeah, like I'm the type, you get to yelling at me. What's going on? Why are we yelling? My kids, they don't like yelling, so I had to learn that as the parent. Like I can't right. Like they know. Like my son know when I get to, oh, okay, I'm in trouble. Okay, yep, let me. But we have to also understand, like, so with the, like you said, with trauma and the stress. So my son, we were over at my friend house. We playing spades. They outside playing basketball, and he come in and he mad. I had just went out there. Him and my nephew, one of my close friends' son. They the same age, best friends. They talking trash to each other. Mm-hmm. So my son come in and he a little emotional. He a little emotional. He come in, he crying. He's like, everybody talk about me in this. And I thought about how I've acted before. I've said something before, and I was like, I'm just cool. All right, bro, breathe. Calm down.
Oh, good for you.
You can't joke with people and not be but everybody, oh well, you gotta joke back. You gotta do something. You can't come in here and cry and they see that. Now they really gonna be on it. So go to the bathroom, wipe your face, chill out, go back out there when you're ready. Mm-hmm. Now, some parents, some guys, why you crying? You ain't supposed to.
Yeah.
you ain't supposed to do that. That's gonna tear him down because he's emotional. It ain't really where it's the end of the world for him. His emotions is messed up. So as a dad, I have to show him how to control his emotions. So when he don't have to wait till he like me and 30 and 38 and 35 to understand emotional intelligence. Because that's one of the biggest lacking factors in the black community is emotional intelligence.
Baby, say it again.
So yesterday, I don't know if you heard it was youth football. 2 people got shot.
No.
Yes. So this is my thing it's youth football. I've been there. My son don't play, but I've been around the environment. It's horrible to as a parent, like to watch and see how some of the adults. Now I coach basketball, so I coach, so I get it sometimes. Some people be out talking out the side of their neck, and as a coach, you gotta set the example for your kids. But then it's like, all right, if I gotta slap this dude, let me explain it to my kids in a way that they can understand it. Like I ain't supposed to, but you gotta understand. Like you can't let somebody disrespect you. You can't let somebody do a certain. Or if you come from one of my kids, I'm on your head. Like so, it's certain stuff you have to explain. But for somebody to, because I don't know the whole thing, so I ain't gonna speak on what I heard, but guns were involved. Obviously, somebody went to get a gun. You get shot. Why do y'all have guns at a kid's game? Because guess what? Bullets don't got names on it. That's Say right. You would have went to shoot somebody bumped you, now you didn't shot a little kid. Mm-hmm. Yeah, kid didn't score 3 touchdowns that won the game and accidentally get shot because y'all want to be dumb and don't have no emotional intelligence. Walk away.
They don't got good coping skills. But I will tell you, my son was in football. We started Little League at 6 years old, and I just wanted to expose him because he just liked different stuff. And the league was so ghetto, just like that. And there was a couple of incidents where parents were getting ready to fight and talking about pulling guns on each other. Police got called a couple of times. They was out there smoking weed and stuff. I don't tolerate that. One thing that I do know is safety for children is of utmost importance, right? Yeah. And I don't think that even, especially within our culture, like we're not even taught about like how fighting in front of kids is an automatic DCS case. I mean, I didn't know it until I really started working as a nurse, working with those families, that I had to teach my parents, like, y'all can't be out here. If I don't care what you do, you and homegirl, y'all about to get into it, you better not do it in front of this baby. You and your man, you better not do it in front of this baby, because that's an automatic DCS case. Why? Because when children are exposed to any type of violence, it changes their brain. It is traumatic to them.
Just to think of what you said about it's a cultural thing, cause you like you said, you at games, right? You might have people over here smoking and whatever, and you might got drinks getting passed. Nobody thinking, but the people like, okay, we away from the kids. No, kids still see it. We don't realize, and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, we don't realize the type of culture we place in our kids.
That's right.
But it's because what we saw. Because I remember, you go with your parents, they going to play cards. They at their friends, they drinking, they smoking,
they doing
whatever.
They thing. The kids be by themselves. Yep, that's how it was.
And that's how it was.
Yep.
And in a sense, it's a good and bad thing, because you understand. All right. We know where our kids at. We know what they doing. We know, that. But then it's like we showing them stuff that they shouldn't.
They have no
that
business.
they haven't seen, and we don't realize it because it's so normal.
Right.
It's like you have to unlearn what you learn, especially when you come from the hood, those areas, or just black people, middle class and under black people culture. Because my mom be hating when I be trying to make it downplay like where we stayed. She be like, "Nah, I was joking. Nah, we wasn't rich, but we wasn't poor." So it's the language, Mom. It's the language. But middle class and under, like, there's a certain culture that we don't realize. And sometimes these kids are more vocal, and they'll say like, "Why y'all doing this?" or doing that? And then get mad, but then you gotta be like,
you did it.
So whoever got shot, right? Mm-hmm. And this is me thinking as a 38 grown man that's unlearning and learn. You gotta be like, dang, it ain't even about me sitting here, or if you got a rehab or nothing. My little team saw me in an altercation with guns.
Right.
My players saw me get shot. My players saw the person that shot me.
That is some trauma.
Ain't nobody gonna talk about it. Is the two teams gonna get their kids and get some therapists in there for not the kids and the parents? Because there's parents that live in the suburbs that ain't never seen none of this, and they kids just in the league because they kid playing the league because they uncle the coach or they dad was raised and they coach, and they didn't see some stuff. Because we don't never. Just thinking about when I was a kid, like when somebody died, nobody talked about it. Nobody went and you sat down and like, are you all right? Are you okay? Like, because as kids or even as adults, you see those people that's laying in the casket. You have nightmares and all that. Nobody talks about it. And then we wonder why we keep doing some of the stuff that we keep doing because no one talks about it. Like, so I want to, because I'm going to make this a clip. So for all the organizations that kids was involved, get y'all kids some therapy.
That's right.
Because y'all don't know what is going through their mind. They saw somebody, they saw their coach, they saw another man, their uncle, their dad get shot. And y'all don't know how to cope with it. So get them some help so they can cope with it. Because that's traumatizing. These kids, it was 11U. So it had to be, it was maybe middle school kids and elementary kids on the field watching and seeing this happen. And adults, stop bringing out guns. Even if you get to the point of fighting, just fight. Take the L. Get your ass beat and go home. It's better than going to the hospital or going to jail or being in the 6 feet under. Like if we want our kids to do better, we gotta show them better. We can't keep saying why they got straps because y'all got straps.
Right.
I was in the game at 4th grade. Dude had a gun in his bag, pulled it out because him and the other coach on our side was talking trash, and the coach said something that hit a nerve. So you go grab a gun. What if one of the kids saw that? Right. What if one of our players fouled them hard as hell, knowing, oh, my dad got his strap in there.
Right.
Like people y'all don't think about that. Everybody want to be hard.
Or they feel like the respect is everything. Like, two things. Number one, people parent their children however they parent their children, but everybody don't parent their children the same way that you do. They don't expose their kids to the same thing. They don't parent them the same way. And when parents or adults show up to these situations where there's kids around, it's a lack of respect for the child. It's a lack of respect for the other parent that's there. Like, don't handle me and mine like you handle yours. Right? First of all. Yeah. And second of all, you're right. This whole idea of needing to resort to guns, because it's all about this respect. And it's such a false sense of identity. Yeah. It ain't got nothing to do with no respect.
Because the people
you dying in the streets for
you don't even
what?
give respect. You don't even give people the respect, but you won't respect.
You don't respect yourself.
Nope.
You don't respect these kids. You don't respect yourself. You don't respect nobody else. And you feel like you older, you do something. Get the fuck up out of here. Excuse my language. Yeah. Get the fuck up out of here.
Yeah. Because it's real when it comes to the youth sports. Like, I know, like, I'm learning because I'm a rah-rah person. Like, when it comes to basketball, my passion, my level, I'm up here. And I had to learn, okay, getting technical. I ain't never got ejected, getting a couple of technicals. Then seeing my son, oh, shit, this little joker, he worse. Oh, my God. Okay, now I got to keep working on myself as a coach and understanding. But it's always, like, I always tell my kids, I'm loud. I might cuss. I love you. If you can't handle that, then this ain't the team for you. And I no disrespect to you, because I coach when you could be like, hey, my son play. You want to come to the game? I'm gonna be sitting there. Hey, go to that corner. Go over there. That's just me. Some kids will take that. Why you telling me? Oh, okay, go ahead. Yep, do what you need to do. And it's like, you have to understand as a coach, like, it's about the kids. But then I want people to really understand as a coach, because sometimes people and parents, y'all don't appreciate coaches as much as y'all should. Because I was coaches, we don't get paid. We miss time with our families. We miss time with our kids. We figuring out, we having dreams about the game. We can't get no sleep because we thinking about the next week practice or the next tournament. We got to figure out how we getting here, how to get there, and nobody pays us. At least, like, give your coach some appreciation. If it's his
so
birthday,
hard, though. I mean, not to say that
if you understand you got the right kind of coach, and you understand, because the right kind of coach is bigger than sports. The right kind of coaches like that's coming in and doing the field. They ain't paying people. They doing it themselves. They coming in at 8:00 in the morning at night, 8:00 in the morning, knowing they got games all day and doing that. Like nobody sees stuff like that, and so it can be hard to be a coach. But if you don't love these kids, don't coach.
Please don't coach.
Like, for real, sit
this
down.
conversation is a little triggering to me because, my son, we just went to a new school. I won't say what the name of the school is, but they have a losing streak. They haven't won not one game this year. I don't think last year or the year before that. And I mean not one. I mean, my son come from ranking as my son was the bomb at where he was, and now he come here,
I got stressed just thinking, dang.
Wait a minute, but you know what's so sad about it? Like I was telling, like I'm not an athlete, right? Never been an athlete, but I know when I see when I can tell when people are really invested in children, right? So I'm peeping how things is going, and I'm like, I'm not really feeling this. Now, I don't say nothing. And I'm like, I also don't want to be the new parent who's coming trying to tell somebody what I see because you like, who are you and who's your son and, whatever. So I'm trying not to mess up what that could look like by going to coaches and saying what I see because I know coaches can't stand that either, right? But I had the privilege of taking a couple of kids home, different kids, different times, and just ask them about like their morale of the team. Y'all lose every game and, XYZ. And both of these kids told me 2 different times, same story. These coaches don't love us. They don't care about us. I know coaches cuss, but I mean, I ain't never seen nothing like this. These coaches don't care nothing about us. They said they don't speak to them, like even because they're teachers at the school, right? Walk past these kids, don't say a word to them, won't look at them. They said that
they do it for a check.
Yeah, you doing it for a check. And then like one of the boys was like, the coach keep switching positions. And he was like, so I asked him, okay, if you want me to try a new position, do you got a video I can watch so I can study it? And he said the coach told him, I don't do videos. You just need to get out there and do what I tell you to do. So now you mad because you got kids, you moving them around. They haven't been able to perfect their position. They asking you for additional support and you refuse to provide that. Coaches sitting up there telling kids who got asthma, ain't no such thing as asthma. Y'all need to just tough it out. My son got asthma because I'm telling you right now, it let him fall out on that school. A lawsuit is coming, just so you know. But anyways, and then one of the other kids told me that he had broke his back last year and showed up to practice because he was like, I still need to, after, he got his cast and stuff, like, let me just go in there and show up. And they told him to get into the game and got mad because he was like, Coach, my back is broken. Like, you need to tough it out, stuff like that. And I asked him, like, did y'all parents complain? And they was like, well, yeah, but the athletic director said, we heard, complaints about him before, but nothing's being done. See, I don't tolerate this. See, right now, this ain't my kid. When it's my kid, we're going to have a whole nother conversation. But it's so hard to respect coaches who don't know how to treat these kids like they're kids and understand that their responsibility is mentorship before it is ever athleticism. Yeah. This is what I believe. I'm not a coach, but it's mentorship because you can't get these kids motivated to be able to even play on the level you want them to while you're disregarding their humanity. You can't do that, right? Yeah. And so, I feel like it's a fine line. I do feel like parents be talking shit from the stands. I'm not one to do that. Yeah. I don't even know the game enough. Yeah. You got to treat them different.
I've been the parent. My son was on the school team, and I didn't like the coach. He played his son a lot more than other people. His son wasn't sad, but there was people on the bench that was just as good or a little bit better or better in certain areas. Mm-hmm. So my son didn't really get a whole lot of clock, and he didn't make the team this year. It's politics. He don't know nobody. My son don't even play. He don't even play out west. We play out east, or we didn't play it everywhere else. We never really played in the Ben Davis area. So because they don't have elementary teams, but they have like township teams or whatever. Mm-hmm. But as a coach, that parent coming, but also you got to be man and woman enough as a coach to listen to the parent. But the parent, you got to come
and with the kid.
The parent, yeah, because you gotta ask kids, hey, what can I do better?
Right.
Hey, or if you lose, you got to look at it. That was me. I switched up how we normally play, or you be like, I should have did this. Sometimes it's the coach. We didn't execute. and you didn't prepare your team. But then, like, there is a fine line because some parents be like, why they talking to him like that? Okay, you heard me say that, but you didn't hear that I sent him some money so he could get him some food. So when if I'm working at the school, he didn't came to my class every day and he didn't got snacks, or I didn't help him with his homework. Sometimes you don't get to see some of the stuff the coaches do. You only see or hear the rah-rah because we in that era pull out our phones for stupid stuff.
Right.
And it'd be 15 seconds or 30 seconds and they be like, oh my God, why would he talk like that? Because I got in trouble as a coach. Never for talking to my players though. Never, not once. They play. Why they let you go? Because there's people talking, disrespecting us, talking to me crazy, coming up to me, telling me how to coach. If you want to coach, you should have went coach. Like, they were like, oh, you're a man coach. I don't know. You should be talking to them like that. Well, why you didn't sign up? Why was the spot open? Y'all been teaching at this school. This is my first year. I like basketball. It was open. I'm going to teach. Why y'all didn't? You think you going to come and tell me how to do my job? So I went the next day because these two women teachers, they was trying to tell me how to do my job during the game. That's the wrong time to come to me. I don't got no coof. And my mouth is, when I feel a certain way, I'm going to tell you how it is, and it ain't going to be pretty.
We're going to work on that.
Yeah, it's better. It is better. It is better. It is better. So next day I go to the principal like, hey, da-da-da-da. I was like, that'd be like if you was doing your job and somebody came up and told you you wouldn't like it. She was like, I get what you're saying. I was like, I said some choice words. I didn't disrespect nobody in what I said and calling them out their name, I would say. But I let her know. She was like, okay, cool. Nobody says nothing. We don't have no meetings, nothing. So we at a game, we get cheated. It's these people in the crowd. Once the refs start cheating, they start talking to us crazy. I'm like, shut the F up. Like, don't yell at our bench. I'm in a game. I'm sorry. I'm working on it. Not knowing they kids. Not little kids, but like they were younger kids. They were kids, teenagers. They go and say, he told us to shut the F up, B. I said, I'm across the gym. Y'all over there. So if I said that, y'all the only people that heard it? Why? I was like, I could tell they was females. I just said, why would I say? I wouldn't say that I coach females. I ain't never say that to none of them. But nobody has a meeting. No one comes and talks to me. They just, oh well, we gotta let you go.
Yeah, let you go. Yeah.
Because it's white women that are the athletic director and the principal of the high school. No one comes and talks. No one actually says, let's see what your point of view as the coach. No one actually asks the coach. Because kids will lie. Kids will lie real quick, go tell their parents. Then their parents come in on some bull and want to attack the coach. You like, hold on, what's going on? Oh, you mad because your son cussed me out all week and I finally told him, I said a cuss word back to him. Oh, okay. Your son been getting in trouble in school. These teachers emailing me. They sending me pictures. I got to deal with that as I'm in class with my kids. But you want to come in here on some rah-rah. Okay, come in here on some rah-rah. It's not going to go the way you think it's going to go.
Oh, Lord.
So, like, that's happened to me where a parent came in the locker room like, bro, what you on? We just talked the other day. On the phone. Why you ain't ask me that then? Now you want to come in here and bombard me after a game? What y'all on? Oh, that's what y'all want to do? Because if I call some people, y'all ain't getting out.
Lord, you can't be able to act like that in the
No.
school.
Listen, they don't pay enough in the school. And listen, I'm a man at the end of the day. I'm not about to let you talk to me crazy because your kids talking to me crazy. These parents don't be understanding. Your kids being here disrespectful. Talking to people.
I tell my son, let me find out that you talking to an adult like that. Let me find out that you think you gonna puff up and put your face up in the adult. So let me find out you think you gonna put your hands on somebody.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those parents because we know that there are some of those parents that, well, whatever, my kid, they still the kids. Nigga, get your kids in check.
Yeah. Yeah.
Teach your kids how to have some home training so that they know how to respect adults. If they got a problem, my son, no. If you got a problem with any adult, guess who can handle that? Mm-hmm. Can't nobody handle an adult better than Robin Coleman can. And I ain't got no problem doing it. Yeah. So my son, no. You handle yourself. You be respectful. You be honest, you be transparent, but I'm nothing but a phone call away. And I don't mind going to go see nobody either.
Yeah.
So, but that's what these parents need to instill. These parents need to teach their children how to be respectful. They need to teach their children how to respect themselves. They need to teach their children how to respect other people. But they also need to understand your kid's future is riding on how they handle themselves right now. It don't just stop at this one moment, right? You ain't teaching your kid to roll over just because you teaching them that they need to be strategic with how they handle conflict. Because when it comes down to adults, kids, y'all ain't winning no fights against no adults for the most part anyway, right? Yeah. So you teaching your kid that this is how they need to handle adversity, and that ain't gonna work out for nobody.
So it's difficult. Because just like there's bad coaches, there's bad teachers.
Oh, it's plenty of them. I had some.
And I ain't gonna even put nobody business because I still work there. But I could tell by being around people if they really mess with kids, and just seeing it. And then y'all writing kids up. I don't write kids up. I hate writing kids up. I feel like it's prison. I'm writing you up. I'm giving you I'm adding to whatever they already doing. Like, how can we solve this without me writing you up? Like, when I go sub at the middle school, listen, I don't care what y'all do after this class. Just don't act up in here. I do not want to write nobody up. Don't fight.
Don't put me in that predicament.
Yeah, for real.
Because I will if I have to.
It's too much to go on, but I just feel like a lot of stuff you could go talk to a kid instead of writing them up, and now they got all these. The school I worked at last year, there was over 100 some odd referrals in like the first semester. They was reading some of these referrals. It's like, and no offense, it was white women to kids, maybe Hispanic and black, some white kids, but it's like, you really wrote them up for that. You don't have enough authority in your voice to handle your class and tell your kid to sit down because he wouldn't sit down. You wrote him up. So now he got 15 stupid referrals, and now he about to be suspended because all of them could be handled by calling his mama.
Sometimes they do it because it's an easier way for them to not. So this is the hard part, because I got friends who are educators who like it is not their responsibility to come in and be parents to kids. So, and to some degree I can empathize with them. But on the other side, you just because you don't want to have to deal with the hard part don't mean that you don't take into consideration what I just said, that you setting this kid up to where you get ready to change the trajectory of their life. And sometimes all they need is somebody to go the extra mile just that one time, to listen to them, to inquire, to love on them, to nurture, to ask the right questions, not what's wrong with you, but what happened to you.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Yeah. And that's what a lot of teachers do. What's wrong with you? Like, you don't have no idea what that kid is going through at home, what they might have just faced before they got into the door. Man. And they trying to just you have no idea. And every time it's a problem within the home, it ain't always because they parents is bad parents. Like, the problem I have with the education system is there are people who support kids. There's no empathy for whatever the parent is going through. They might not have made the best decision for that child, but sometimes they did what they knew best, right? And then so it's like, what supports do you have in place to be able to support these parents without judging them, without not holding them accountable, but showcasing them, but not that you don't want to hold them accountable, but to really be able to support them to not have to make those same decisions that weren't the best interest of the kid.
It's like on Lean on Me.
Yeah, Joe Clark. He my favorite.
when the one girl he been knowing since she was little, stuff was going on. Mama like, okay, it's hard. How can we help you?
Right.
Like, what can we do? And a lot of times, sometimes parents, you gotta suck up your ego. You gotta put it in your back pocket. Because to be honest, there's a lot of resources to help parents. I don't get why your kid ain't got no freaking coat. It's wintertime. All these dang on coats. Y'all don't want to go pick up no coat? Your kid coming to school with no coat, no gloves, no hat. Where y'all coat at? Why y'all ain't got one? Like, that's the crazy.
And sometimes it's finances.
Sometimes it's finances. I'm a parent though, and I ain't never been a rich parent. I didn't made it by how I've been made it by, and I know like there's resources. Like if my son, mom, if something was to happen or she had to go out of town and he had to stay with me for a minute, and it was something, I'm gonna go to one of these things if I need to.
Yeah, but you know, I will say this though. So I grew up in poverty. We went without a whole bunch of nights, honey. Didn't have heat sometimes, didn't always have a meal. I remember having to eat sugar sandwiches.
Yeah.
You know, because we didn't always have, and sometimes parents don't know what resources are available to them, right? Sometimes it's pride and ego where you might not want to ask. Sometimes you might be like, I need it, but I know that if they find out I can't give the basic needs to my kid, now it's a DCS case, right? There's something about this trauma, right? Yeah. Everything ties back to trauma, just so I can always point it back. But anyways, you know, when a parent is worried about if their kid is going to be taken away from them because they don't have what they need, you know, then that causes them to not. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just explaining the process about what's happening, where they might be like, "We're gonna thug it out and we'll figure it out."
No, because so this ain't not nothing against you, but this ain't the '90s. This ain't the early 2000s. You people share every goddamn thing on the internet, all the flyers, everything. People share everything. I'm sure somebody on your timeline didn't share something, or if you see something, ooh, are they doing this in a month? Let me save it. Because you can go and do all this other stuff, but not make sure your kid, like, it's simple stuff that I'm looking at kids like, what in the hell? I'm a parent, so I get it. It's hard. Sometimes you can't. But
you a dedicated parent. You gotta. You take your parental role as number one priority.
Because you don't never. Because when you think about it, you send your kids out. Guess who they represent? You. I tell them, hey, go out there and act the fool if you want to. You represent me. I'm going to act the fool wherever you at. I'm pulling up. So don't even think about it. But I'm sending you out in the world. Guess what? My son got a lineup this weekend. Do I got one? Nope. I had to make a business decision. His mom's like, he need a lineup. Okay, cool. I got him. I was like, I'm all right. I'll be all right. And I look good, Dad. You know, you ain't get your hair lined up. He don't understand, brother. I ain't want to spend that little $30 to $40 on a lineup. I want to use that for something else, or I could use that to go put on your books or my books or something. Kids don't understand that.
The sacrifice we make.
The sacrifice as parents. So sometimes I'm just thinking, I watched Good Times, right? And I remember it was the little boy, he couldn't hear. He was having trouble hearing, and Florida figured it out. And he was like, my mama don't love me and this, and that. And she broke it down, and she was like, your mama love you because she works, she do this. And kids don't understand the sacrifice or the hard work. So when the school come down on a parent, and the parent like, shit, I'm doing everything I can. Like, dang, can y'all give me a break? And they don't want to give you a break. That's when the parents go into being a nigga rather than being a black person, because it's like, dang, man, I'm doing everything I can, and you really gonna do that? Or people forget you used to be there when you was an educator and it was your first, second year. You was struggling. You get the title, you're an admin now, you're on the network. You forget and you treat people a certain way, and it's like, why the hell you treat me like? Why would I even want to work here? Mm-hmm. To be honest, I don't understand why we as people want to work in the school system. It's like we love the kids so much, but they treat us so bad, and it's so much trauma. It's so much mental health because that trauma and stress that teachers get, and you don't go to therapy or you don't go and cope with that the right way, because a lot of teachers, they cope the wrong way. And people, why would I want that person teaching your kid? Why don't you teach your kid how to be taught? Instead of being in class, I got to write them up. I got to send them out of class. Boy, when I tell you, I can't wait to stop working in the school so I can really talk my shit about the school system, the parents, the educators, the admin, everybody, because it's so much bullshit that goes on.
I know. I got friends that are in there, and it's a very toxic work environment. And if you really want to be a teacher, to know that you are getting underpaid and in some cases underappreciated, you know, you really have to be there for the kids. And it's a lot, because when you go to school to be a teacher, you don't think that you're going to school to have to be a social worker, a mental health therapist, and all these other things that they ask you to do as an educator. You don't think about that you about to actually step into the role and have to operate at any of those at any given time, depending on what your kid shows up as. So, you know, it's really hard. It's a very toxic work environment because of the workload. It's a very toxic work environment because school is political. right? And you got to deal with all that BS that has to do with the political system and elections and how things are going to change and what you got to do just to make sure you're in alignment with that, right? Then you have all this external pressure from the community, from the board, from the, you know, you have it's a lot of stuff that you have to carry.
I'm about to tell you the main one. The damn adults.
Oh, well, you damn the parents.
No.
About?
The ones you work with.
Oh, your colleagues.
No, listen.
I don't deal with them no more. That's why I work by myself.
But being a guy, you know, it's not a lot of guys. And then teaching, being a black one, you see it. Like, that is the worst. They gossip. They need the snitching tree for the teachers. Everybody got something to say about somebody. But guess what? And won't nobody say nothing to nobody in their face.
Yep.
You talk. I didn't been in rooms. They didn't shit talk somebody, and then yeah.
This is what took a toll on my mental health at corporate America, because that's exactly what happened. And in my case, it was because I'm vocal. I know how to be a strong advocate for me. People would come and tell me all kind of foolishness and would ask me to, can you go and be our advocate, right? And say that they would stand with me when it's time to talk. But when it was time to talk, ain't nobody standing with me, right? And so people, that's why I tell everybody that I coach, there is no such thing as a work family. That's because what happens is people will befriend you as long as you are on their agenda. The moment that you stand up for your values and all that kind of stuff, all that love and family and all that shit go out the window. Ain't no such thing.
Soon as you stop working there, listen. So last year,
before you stop working there,
it was so much. It was so much BS going on, and I was telling people because they was asking me. About like, oh, what something about, they were asking, I ain't gonna say because people will know who I'm talking about, but they were asking me something. I was like, listen, I don't care about that person. I don't care about y'all because none of y'all care about me. Because guess what? If I got fired or if I left this job, after 2 weeks, nobody talked to me. Guess what? I talked to 2 people at that job since I've left that job. One person every blue off, and the other one I'm working on a podcast with her. But other than that, it's like, I ain't come here to be friends with y'all. Nope. I came here for these kids. Like, now, for me, I'm going to be cool with somebody. Somebody end up giving me a ride. They might bring in lunch. We might have our little lunch crew or whatever. But outside of that, like, if I don't mess with you or you ain't never been to my house or need to or kick it on that level, then I ain't really messing with you, like, on that type of thing. Like, it's people that I didn't work with. We cool on Facebook. But we not cool no more because we don't work together. Or we could talk about that all day because people do that in church. People do that in
fake as hell.
Communities.
And I ain't cut like that.
Yeah. Like, I don't understand
I ain't cut like that.
With people in church. You can stop going to that church. Do that make me not a Christian? Do that make me not stop? Did I stop reading the same Bible you read? Dang, I live on this side of town. The church way over here. I just made a business decision because I need to get here. Ain't no church vans. Like, what? Why are y'all? Dang. I was going through something as I was exiting the church. Nobody gonna check on me? Like, I think that's so weird. Or if something happened, you get a divorce. Oh, people act real weird. Why you acting weird? It happens. Oh, well, in the Bible, well, people did all kind of stuff. People didn't kill people in the Bible, and God still was right there with them. Like, so it'd just be stupid. But see, you see what kind of conversation? I asked you the first question. I ain't picked it up. And to be honest, when people listen to it, there's so many different avenues of stress and trauma that we touch. And I don't really care if people get mad at my perspective. I think my perspective needs to be looked at because we got to stop making excuses about stuff that we don't got. Mm-hmm. It's 2024. It ain't really no excuse of anything that's in life. Like, I had, her name is Robin, and she was like, it ain't no reason why people should make money. And I was like, that's true. And so every day or now when I'm thinking of stuff to create, how can I make money off this? Yeah, how can I monetize this? And that's crazy because the conversations is different when you talk to different friends. I'm glad we in the community that we in because we just had a whole therapy session for the audience if they listen to actually what we said, because you brought the language, the knowledge, the history, the little research of certain things, or how to, or words that we didn't know that went with what. And I'm just raw. I'm just gonna give it to you funky. And then when you listen to both parties, you be like, oh, okay, I can learn something from him and her. And that's just how I think that's how we have to present to our culture. We gotta have somebody talk to people how they talk, but then you also have to have somebody that can come in and give facts. So people, because we like facts, we want to see what's going on. We ain't really gonna believe you until we do. But I love this conversation that we had, because we talk all the time. We could talk for hours because we both are talkers. And I love how no one over talked anybody, nobody cut nobody off. We just knew how to have a conversation. So you made it through your second podcast episode.
Yay.
But everybody different, though. You ain't going to get us. You might not sit down and be comfortable talking to everybody like me, because everybody ain't like me, or people got questions and they stick to them questions. I feel like I'm going to get the real you by just talking to you.
Just having a casual conversation.
Yep. But I need some, tell people how they can reach you.
Okay.
And then I used to ask for like 3 tips, but I ain't gonna ask for 3 tips. Just give some advice for someone, a beginning entrepreneur. Some like maybe a few steps of how they can deal with that stress, because people don't talk about that. People think, ooh, it's easy. This shit is not easy.
Hell no. Becoming an entrepreneur is
sometimes
very
you want
hard.
this drink to be a dark drink or something that give you a little to it, because life, just regular life gonna kick your butt. But then when you an entrepreneur, and I'm understanding this, like it don't work if you don't work.
It does not work if you don't work. It does not work if you don't work. It does not work if you don't work. You don't work it. You don't have a plan. Okay, so where can I see? So for an entrepreneur in stress, first of all, before you get into the game, you need to know that it is a very stressful game. But the more prepared you are on the front end with your strategy, the easier it'll be for you, right? So number one, I believe that all entrepreneurs should have mentors. And if anybody, including your therapist, don't have a mentor, run, right? Because everybody, no matter what level of greatness they are, they always need somebody to coach them, which I'm available if you want to be coached. So number one, make sure you have a mentor who is skilled in what you need for your business. Number two, make sure you have a good self-care routine already in place, and that includes having healthy boundaries for what work looks like and what home looks like, and having a plan for when you need to adapt or really be flexible. Because one of the problems that we have within entrepreneurship, we work very long hours, right? You work long hours for somebody else, you better go harder for your own business than you going for anybody else in corporate America, or the dream it just ain't gonna happen. But you're working a lot of long hours. You have, usually in the beginning, very minimal resources. Sometimes you're starting off working a 9 to 5 and doing this on the side, or sometimes you might do like I do. I quit everything with no plan in place, but quit and utilize my retirement to give me time to think, process through, and to live off of as I've been trying to build my brands. And so you need to have a good strategy. You need to know what your vision is. And if you don't know what your vision is or need support with that, make sure you're tapping into your mentor. Have a hell of a self-care plan, right? And that's across the board. That's what kind of social support, understanding what your social support system looks like. If you don't have one, you need to build it up. Understanding what pours into you, right? When you're an introvert, you draw, or your energy is restored by being by yourself. When you're an extrovert, your energy is restored by being in the presence of loved one. So you have to understand who you are, right? And what pours back into you when you start to feel drained, and then you need to start incorporating things that are going to be good for you to replenish your energy. You also need to make sure that you understand how important it is to be able to say no, right? You have to have healthy boundaries with being able to say no. As you're working on building your business, people are going to always still trying to draw and pull in from you, especially if they're used to being able to rely on you. once you start building your own brand, you're not going to have the same capacity to give to other people that you used to have. So you got to be comfortable with saying no. And then you also need to make sure that you have things that you can do throughout the day to just help you stay grounded, to keep you calm, and just, stay smooth. How can you find me? If you're interested in my coaching program, I have 2 different coaching programs. One for business and entrepreneurs and leadership development. You can contact me through Innovative Diversity. Is Robin Coleman at innovativediversity.com or Robin Coleman at innovativediversity.com is my email. If you're interested in coaching related to stress and trauma, if you're looking for somebody to process through with you, any of your childhood experiences, or do shadow work with you, or just want to really learn how to have a healthy and balanced life, I do that through my Nurse Robin Speaks or my Inner Alchemy Wellness Lab. Both of those are found on the same website. So you can go to www.nursrobinspeaks.com, and the email is info@nurserobinspeaks.com. And then what else? Sikkim Institute, my nonprofit. If you're interested in learning more about the programs that we have, you can go to www.sikkiminstitute.com. We are launching our children's program that's for 10-year-olds to 15-year-olds here at P30. We're going to be doing holistic wellness activities with them. Fun activities is going to teach them effective coping skills, but also build their mental agility and let them have fun. We'll be meeting just about every Friday from November 1st to May 31st here at P30. So if you're interested in signing your kids up, just a $30 registration fee just covers all the administrative work, but you can't beat that price for what you're going to get for your children nowhere else. And that's www.sikkiminstitute.org, SekimInstitute.com.
I thought you was about to do a song.
And my number is 463-271-1736. You can call me with any questions about any of those business.
So, you definitely told your age when you said go to www.
That's right. We on Instagram now. Follow me on Instagram, info@Nurse Robin Speaks. I got a Nurse Robin Speaks YouTube channel that I'm about to start posting videos and stuff on. So Twitter at I am Nurse Robin, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube at Nurse Robin Speaks.
Yep. Because I did that once, and I was like, I sound real old.
I'm old.
Appreciate that advice. Those are all good things, because every coach has a coach.
That's right.
So if your coach don't got a coach,
You need to run.
Yep. I'm trying to think who I wanted to shout out. I'm going to shout out to all the real coaches in the world that actually care about their kids, that actually want to give them personal development.
That's right.
I think that's the most important thing when you're coaching kids. You want them to become better human beings. Okay, they play sports. Okay, you're going to get the 1 or 2 kids that's amazing, that's way better than everybody, but are they going to be good adults? Are they going to be able to feel like they can come back and ask you a question, or they can trust you? Or is your name good? Like, is they gonna tell their little cousins, hey, go coach, go to Coach Jones, or go to this coach over here? So shout out to all the coaches that actually do what they supposed to, that actually study the game, that actually develop their kids in whatever sport they are, because you could have talent, but if you ain't developing, they not gonna be good at all. So I'm gonna shout out to them. I thought I had my book, but I think I left it at home. Go on YouTube. No, I said YouTube. Oh my God, Amazon. From Underdawg to Top Dog, 7 Steps for Academic Success for Middle School to High School. Youth Cheat Code by my son Christian. His coloring book is coming soon. Trying to think what else do I want to promote. That's it, I think, for stuff that I do. Oh, if you need a speaker, if the educators, principals, counselors, if you're listening and you work in the school system, I can come speak at your school. I really ain't trying to come for free, but I will. But I have workshops, I have programs. It ain't like I'm just coming and saying, hey, how you doing? I actually have something for the kids with social and emotional, and to help them with academic success, because I was the kid that didn't have academic success. So now I know how to be successful academically. That was a bar. But Underdawg Talk. just Google me. I love saying that. UNDDAWG Talk. Just Google that and you'll find me. That's it. What do I want to say to the people? I love this episode, like, because we touched on so much. Sometimes I never know what I'm necessarily going to touch on, because some people touch on so much stuff, but we touched on a lot around our community and stress and trauma, because that's very important for our people. Mm-hmm. And I must say, y'all can't see, but she got her toes done. Her toes look nice. Glad you ain't got.
Thank you.
Yeah, she ain't got the. She got like the little poodle dog. The dogs out. She ain't got like the stray dog. Because kids, you know, you have your feet out. They call them dogs. My son always talking about my feet. Yeah. Give us like a little closing word, short little word to get us out of here, so we can go have the rest of our Sunday.
Well, this is easy. Stress and wealth is not worth your mental health.
Keep being great.
Mm-hmm.